feel like being a good listener helps me as a producer because I personally feel like that's half the job. Listening to what it is that you've actually done and created, listening to the people that you're working with, listening to other music to get, new perspective. I feel there is a difference between just listening idly, just having music on in the background, versus deeply listening and I'm actually looking for something within the music. I'm listening for textures, I'm listening for melody, for chords. I'm listening for literally every single facet of the song in different times, in different ways, for different reasons. Sometimes I'll just slow the song down. You can hear in real time, like, does this song feel better faster? Does it feel better in a different pitch? It's cool to just listen to that and to see where you could take something that you've made yourself. Sometimes I'll write it down. Sometimes it'll be a conversation that I'll have with someone else. The cool thing about having a conversation is through articulating that back to someone what you heard or what they hear, you can unlock new parts of the music. I learn new perspectives based in realities and backgrounds that I just don't have. And it's nice to hear how someone else sees something or hears something or feels about something, or how they interpret lyrics or how they interpret how something may have been done. And it's always nice to get someone else's perspective and learn from them. Before I take a shower, sometimes I'll just make a new playlist, especially before like a certain type of day I'm having, whether that's like a big day, a small day, or like I know I'm going to the studio, I know I want to make something that feels a certain way, or I know I want to kind of be in a certain headspace. I'll kind of just like make a playlist that'll kind of get me through, that I can kind of like dissect. Listening in the shower is cool because you just have just different elements, different sounds kind of going on. The music can be a bit muffled. It's a brand new EQ. There's certain frequencies that come in and there's certain frequencies that cut out. So that's always a pretty cool way to listen to music. The process of making these playlists that inspire or are part of a moment or my day, I start from like one song that I know, or I start from a feeling or like a genre, whether that's like early 2000s R&B or like, classic rock, whatever it is, whatever the feeling is, a certain like region, kind of start there. It's not a crazy amount of intention or like I'm trying to like meticulously like script my day or score my day. It's more about just kind of planting seeds that you can harvest throughout your day. Seeds that can possibly create a certain vibe or a certain energy that I can listen to and kind of feed off of in different ways. You're gonna make a playlist, get out your workbook, and find the deep listening exercise. You can find interesting sounds in any environment. You can create them by banging pots and pans together, recording conversations. It's just about taking anything that you have and finding a way to reinterpret it in a cool way. A sonic snapshot is sounds and noises in any environment that inspires you, that you can capture and utilize at a different time. The way that I add to my archive is by taking voice memos, building playlists, or chopping small samples from other songs that I like. I basically find sounds that I love, things that I'm into, and I try to put those into folders that I can reference when I'm creating things. There's little blips and blops, little sounds that sound cool, little effects, little textures. There's just so many different ways to create things that I store that I can then reference again when it's time for me to draw from these things that I've organized and put away. One of the ways that I collect the sounds and source the sounds is by going on walks, living life, recording anything that jumps out at me or that I hear, any small nuances throughout the day. Slow it down, pitch it up, put reverb on it, reverse it, it's kind of endless. One of the places I go to source these sounds and go on these walks is a walking trail near my mom's house in Rancho Cucamonga. Some of the sounds I hear when I'm walking are birds, traffic, people, the ambiance of the city, the wind on the trees and leaves, kids playing, anything that you could possibly hear when you're out living. Some of the ways I capture the sounds are by recording them on my phone, on voice memo. A sound map is a map of the sounds that you're hearing around you, above, behind, to the side. When I do it, I write it down, kind of map out where all the sounds are. I use arrows to show like how the sounds kind of came in or where the sounds feel like they're going and how it kind of all fits in relation to where I'm standing. Go to your workbook, go to the sound map exercise, and go take a walk. A musical rabbit hole is when you start in one place musically and find yourself in a completely different way, piece by piece, layer by layer. I think it's as important as the deep listening. It allows you to form different connections in how you relate to the music. This genre or this world took me to this other world, and these are the bridges that connect this and that. What do you notice about this artist? How does the genre make you feel? What are some of the techniques you hear the artists are doing? What are some of the production techniques and textures and layers on the album? What are some of the different genres you hear the artist actually tapping into? How do they make you feel? When I'm finding a newer artist or an older artist, let's say if I go to Red Hot Chili Peppers, I might just see oh, what is their highest playing song on Spotify? What is their least played song? Or if I'm trying to find samples, let's say if an artist uses a sample, I'll go to that page and then I'll see what's one of their more obscure songs so I can kind of get away from something that's more known and then I can kind of explore from there. Step 3 is exploring similar artists, similar genres, seeing their differences, their similarities, and allowing that to take you on a brand new journey. That 4th step would be going back to the original artist or that original song and seeing how it makes you feel now with everything that you've listened to and how you've learned and heard all these new genres and different songs and different albums, different techniques. Step 5, I would just start making music. Get right into it. We're about to jump into a musical rabbit hole. Go to your workbook, open up the rabbit hole exercise, and get lost in your playlist. Motifs are themes in music that can be explored, like sadness, introspection, the community that people are in, anything with conviction I'm super into. And I think that that's the thing that separates anything that I really connect with, is how much conviction and how they utilize their conviction in the art. It starts at connection, and then you can kind of get into why you connect with it, but it always starts at connection. Samples are any sound that you utilize to make music. So it can be a literal drum sound, or it can be a full song. Anything that you can use that's already recorded that exists as a sound, as a waveform, that can then be utilized in another song. The cool thing about samples is that you can have 100 different people using the same sample, but how they use the sample is the thing that's gonna just like blow your mind about it. The amen break is a popular drum sample that's been used by countless artists and producers across many different genres. An example of how a drum break can sound different is the difference in how NWA used the amen break and how Tyler, the Creator, used the amen break. They each had a different intention with the sample, a different reason to use the sample, and a different emotion they were trying to get across. I don't always think that you have to know why before you use something. There is a knowing why, and that creates a whole different utilization of this sample. And then there's also just experimenting. You just kind of just go into it however you go into it, whether that's just like seeing like what will happen or knowing exactly how you want to use it. Go to YouTube, load up a song or a known sample, well-known sample, and go to the settings in like the bottom right-hand corner, click that, and then go back to playback speed, and you can speed that up, slow it down. And the different like speeds is a completely different utilization of the sample. And you can see like what genre that would work for, or how to kind of juxtapose different genres with other, intentions, and just kind of see what that sounds and feels like and where you go with that. For like the amen break, if you slow that down, that's more of like a traditional hip hop bounce and like rhythm. But if you speed it up, that's more of like drum and bass, and that's a whole different energy, feeling. So it's kind of cool to kind of go into that and see how that makes you feel and where that takes you. I would say you should find what's sustainable for you and what you can actually source within yourself for success and happiness. If the thing that's driving you or makes you successful is outside of yourself, you're always going to be searching for something else. If you have a self-sourced inspiration or drive or success, you can always tap back into yourself. It's sustainable and something that you can live in happily. We've explored listening. We've made sound maps, we've gone down rabbit holes. Now it's time to make music. What's your most ideal process of making music, or what are you the most drawn to when you want to create? Or how do you want to create? Or how do you want to feel when you create? Ask yourself, what process would make you feel the most fulfilled and closest to yourself? Now you can go back to your workbook, go through your exercises, and see how it feels to make something new.